Konjosu.
Pactolus clan.
All right, they're round. What are they waiting for, Indian lover? To be told what to do?
I got a feature. Sergeant Farhide.
Yes, sir.
Take A Troop's ex-civilian scout to the rear of the column where he belongs.
Look, I take government pay, but I don't have to take no rustling around from a tin soldier.
Now, Charlie, all the captain wants is for you to do like he tells you. He's ready, sir. Corporal Donlin, you and Muro ride with tail end Charlie.
Figure to hide in the hills, I guess. Gallop! Whoa! What's your name, mister?
Ledbetter. Jave Ledbetter.
You're not over fond of your wife and son, are you?
What do you mean?
There's a treaty, mister, that says that this is Sioux territory. Now, maybe you don't care anything about treaties, but maybe you do care what happens to your family if the Sioux catch them in here.
We didn't move out yesterday when some whippersnapper lieutenant told us to, and we're not moving out today. The yellow stuff in that creek back there tells us we're going to stay right here for quite a spell.
Answer me this. How do they better themselves with the top of their heads gun?
We can't go back to the boundary and start waiting again. We ain't got nothing left to wait with.
You care even less about your family than I thought, coming into the hills without rifles.
We got rifles.
I didn't see any.
2 brand new Henry repeaters.
Repeaters are all the Sioux need. Mind if I look at them?
Get 'em, Ken. The Sioux are keeping to the middle and back hills, and you know it.
Jay, the rifles ain't there.
Ain't there? Where else could you?
Your son wouldn't be telling a little fib, would he, mister? You go get them rifles like the captain said.
Steady, Sergeant. He's not lying. The rifles are gone. You had a dog, didn't you? Where is he?
Tanner? He'll catch up with us. He missed breakfast, but he likes to root around.
He won't catch up. We found this through his throat back by the creek.
If you think we're being scared off by any sneaking Indian thief...
Your time's up, Ledbetter. Throw these 2 in the wagon and put a guard on them.
Yes, sir.
Wait a minute. Odds are kind of uneven, ain't they? We can do our own driving. Let's get going before he slaps hand irons on us.
A 4-horse town swelled to the bursting point with rushers who'd come for the gold, but found a handful of cavalry instead.
You asked what dog? Who you chasing out of the hills today, Indian lover? Give the army back to the Indians. What Indians?
Glad to see you, too.
How long do you think you're gonna keep us out of there, dog faces? They're dog faces. They're dog faces. Close up. Close up.
May take some doing, Sergeant. Keep the detail in hand while I'm inside this.
I'll do just that, sir.
Tried to make a single thieving red stake look like a whole war party.
Pick that thing up. I ought to make you drink it.
Sure, and you could. Then I'd be sick like those people out there.
You soldiers get us all sick one way or another.
Keep those horses in line, do you hear?
These are Dakota mosquitoes. A lot of whine and no bite.
What are you scared of, dog faces? Them ghost Indians?
What's there to be scared of? They're Yankees, Sioux.
Keep your mouth to yourself, Murray.
Go play in your toy fort. We'll take care of the Indians. Any we see. Leave off that gun, Murray. Would you like to try that again, mister?
So I can break every bone in your body?
Hello, Webb.
Looks like I butted in at the wrong time.
Looks like you did just that.
Isn't it pretty?
There's such a thing as propriety, Colonel Unger.
Not for people like us. As for West Pointers like Calhoun. I'm only a gentleman by act of Congress.
You'd better leave, Leah. I'll speak to you later.
Stay where you are, pretty. You'd like to smash me right between the eyes, wouldn't you?
Remind me to look up in the manual just how many years I'd get for smashing my commanding officer between the eyes.
Leah's not your personal property. She has a right to be with anybody she wants to be with.
That's right, Colonel. Even with me when she wants to be.
Yeah, that's right, Jordan. As long as she works for you.
And since you are working for me, Leah, aren't you due out on the floor?
Colonel Unger is right, Webb. I'm not anybody's personal property.
A good officer, Captain, always knows when he's licked. Didn't they teach you that at West Point?
Hello, sweetheart. How about a drink? Never mind following her. She's working for me, remember? That's part of her job. And nothing's going to happen to her. I have a personal interest in Leah's welfare. You know, I keep thinking you knew her somewhere before she came to work for me. Why is it you won't tell me who she is or where she comes from?
Better equipment than the Army has.
That's your fine government for you. Always not taking care of its fighting men.
That's what I came in to see you about. 2 more of those got in the hands of the Sioux today.
The Sioux that no one ever sees except Captain Calhoun. Listen, my business is furnishing supplies to the white man, and there's nothing you or any treaty can do about it.
You don't think those Sioux are invisible any more than I do. You'd like to see the Army get mixed up in an Indian war. And the hills would open up. Gold rushes would swarm in. There'd be lots of money. All of a sudden, your business booms.
You, of all people, shouldn't mention war with such an authority.
This won't be any close order Johnny shoot me nicely war. This will be hide and seek, slaughter out of nowhere. The Sioux kind of war.
I repeat, you're not an authority on war. You missed the late war between the states, didn't you, Captain?
That's right. I missed it.
Keep clear of the column, Rennie. I'm telling you. I'm warning you.
Well, I just want to ask a question, Sergeant. Who's going to take care of the Ledbetters? The Army?
Raise! Pistols!
They don't welcome you here any more than you welcome them in the hills, do they, Captain?
Return! Pistol! Right in front of the line, class! Oh! Right by Joe Scallop! Oh!
Corporal?
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant Cutter's patrol come in?
About 5 minutes ago, sir.
I got it all figured out. We give our horses to the infantry. The infantry don't know how to ride. He gives them to the quartermaster's corps. The QMC is all full up with mules. They palm them off on a horse factory. Pretty soon, each one of us will get an issue of glue. But I ain't figured out what we do with the glue yet.
You don't like your horse?
That is not the point. I like fair play.
Now what?
I'm hot and tired, too. But is this horse going to rub me down? Could he comb me, feed me, and put me to bed? No, with him it's all take and no give.
Oh, you funny.
Well, anyway, the book says we don't travel on horses.
What book?
What book? Any book, Mother Goose. It says there right on page which I forget. The army travels on its stomachs. Hey, Murray, you southern boys found out about horses. I heard when you surrendered there wasn't a horse left in the whole Confederate army.
By the time Appomattox got around, we didn't have much of anything left. Starving men don't use horses to ride.
I get a mouth made of rubber.
And it's the first time I ever heard it tell the truth.
Tell the truth, tell the truth. Oh, my man's second best friend, don't buy for horse.
Just a minute, Mr. Cutter. Yesterday's report, you signed a statement saying that you ordered a party named Ledbetter out of the hills.
Yes, sir. They started to pull out as I left.
They didn't go, Mr. Cutter. They stayed there where they didn't belong. If the Sioux would cut them down, it'd be nobody's fault but yours.
Yes, sir.
If it happens again, I'll mention it in dispatches. That's all, Mr. Cutter.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you. Indian lover is right. Everything cozy and safe for the poor Sioux. Why didn't you tell Cutter to go out there and sing him a lullaby? Rock him to sleep. One of these days, I'll rock those Sioux to sleep when I find a big enough rock. What's the matter? This worry you? Don't commanding officers go around with their blouses unbuttoned at West Point?
I'd like to see you for a minute. I want Charlie Grass transferred for my troop.
You'd like to see me for a minute what?
I'd like to see you for a minute right now.
You'd like to see me for a minute right now what?
Right now, sir.
That's better, Mr. West Point. Don't ever want to forget those little formalities you learned at school, do we, Captain?
Message from Corporal Adrian, telegraph officer. Says replacements and enlisted personnel are due in tomorrow.
Sergeant Barhigh?
Yes, sir.
I don't like sergeants.
No, sir.
I was one myself for 8 years. So I know that sergeants hate officers.
Yes, sir. No, sir.
Now I know how officers hate sergeants. Seems to be regulation, so I hate sergeants. Especially sergeants who can't remember who's in command around here. All right, for a couple of months, Captain Calhoun had the post. But I've been here long enough for even a sergeant to know that I've taken over. So if I catch any sergeants, and I hate sergeants, they can report to Captain Calhoun before he makes it to me. I'll tear his chevrons off so quick his arm will come with him.
Yes, sir.
Get out of here. You liked having him come up to you instead of me, didn't you? You think of yourself as a, what's it called? Instinctive officer. Now, let me tell you, at West Point, they hand you out a commission for getting high marks on paper for 4 years. Took me nearly 5 times that long, learning mine from the bottom up. But I learned how to get things done, Calhoun, no matter what. Never mind any fussing with apple-cheeked ethics. Well, what are you standing there for?
Waiting to see the colonel, sir.
I'll send for you. Right now, the colonel is busy.
Yes, sir.
Cutter, I figured maybe you could set me straight.
On what, Sergeant?
Why is it, sir, and meaning no disrespect, sir? Nobody wants to be a second lieutenant.
All right. I guess every cave tail that's been out on a day's patrol with you has had to listen to this one. Let's have it, Sergeant.
Well, sir, and I'll give up a day's pay if I'm wrong. A private wants to be a corporal, and a corporal wants to be a sergeant. But does a sergeant want to be a second lieutenant? Captains are right glad to be captains, majors and colonels glad to be majors and colonels, but even a second lieutenant don't want to be a second lieutenant. Looking for something, sir?
Yes, a good answer, Sergeant.
Always want to be looking for something, sir, on patrol. Looking here, looking there, oh, looking there.
Look over there, Sergeant. Smoke.
It was much smokier 10 minutes ago, sir.
Let's get over there. Detail?
We don't want to run headlong into anything, sir. By your leave, there's a way of doing it, sir. Murray! As long as nobody wants to be a second lieutenant, sir, we better take care of what we have. You come along slow. We'll give you the sign to come in. Crawl over there and let's hear that rebel yell.
The old decoy.
The old decoy. Somebody the Sioux didn't like. They need rifles too bad to burn them. Unless this is a rifle of somebody they wouldn't even spit on.
Well, there's no way telling who it was from that.
Somebody the Sioux didn't have no treaty with. Take a look at these wagon tracks, Mr. Cutter. A wagon come in there today and was turned around and sent back toward the boundary line. And from the looks of these footprints, the man that guided that wagon in here didn't go back. And I don't think they took him prisoner.
Well, they didn't bury him around here. What'd he do, disappear into thin air?
Well, he... Charlie Grass.
Get the body down, Sergeant. We'll take it back to the post.
We better not touch him, sir. They didn't do nothing to the whites that Charlie guided in here. You see, Charlie's three-quarter Sioux. They just took care of one of their own that had betrayed them. Notice he still got his hair? That's so when he walks around the hereafter, everybody will know he wasn't even worth scalping. Mr. Cutter, we don't want to monkey around with any of their superstitions. Let's leave him be, sir.
He took government pay, Sergeant. We are responsible. We'll take him back.
I sure hope that was a fox I heard barking instead of one of them young bucks that's already skedaddled back to tell them what we're doing.
Sent for me.
Yes, sir. You go right in now, sir.
You took your time sending for me. You've been busy for 24 hours?
Is that the way they taught you to address your CO at the trade school?
Sir, Captain Calhoun reporting to commanding officer, as ordered.
Well, that's better. The other way sounded like you might be talking to a man in the ranks. Pretty fair likeness. Think I've changed much in 12 years?
I didn't know you 12 years ago.
What you mean is that your kind didn't know my kind was alive. Unless we failed to snap to attention every time a West Pointer came within 50 feet of him. Maybe you think I'm not right for this command. Because I was a sergeant when you were a lieutenant. Now I outrank you by 2 grades.
Maybe I don't think about it at all.
That's a lie. It eats at you inside. Go ahead. Tell me what you really think.
I think there weren't any politicians out here.
Care to make that plain?
It's pretty plain to me. You've done a lot for the politicians. Now you're a lieutenant colonel. And they want the hills opened up, and never mind a little thing like a signed treaty. So they sent you out here.
I don't care a bubble in a dirty river what you think of me. The big point is I don't like the way you let your schoolboy ideas stand in the way you're doing a man's job. These are Indians, Calhoun.
That we signed a treaty with.
What are you going to do? Stand here and uphold a treaty that stops the progress of a whole nation? We're moving out to the Pacific Ocean. You think we're going to skirt around the Black Hills? We're going to have to battle it out sooner or later. The sooner the better.
Not as long as the patrols keep the gold rushers out of their hills. And headquarters wants the patrols kept up. Even you can't ignore that order.
Who do you think you are, a one-man army? The Army doesn't need men who think they're indispensable. What's more, the Army doesn't want them.
Maybe it's just the politicians' part of the Army that doesn't want them.
Get out of here. Get out of here before I place you under arrest for insubordination.
You haven't told me why you sent for me.
Replacement's doing this evening. Only 2 for you this time.
2 more of the same? Transferred because I got in trouble.
That's right. Not going to waste any good men on you, Calhoun. I'll need all the good ones when I hit the Sioux. You can spend your time teaching this kind how to play ring around the treaty, and I'll never miss them. That's all.
What happened?
Charlie Graff, sir. Led a party out...
Mr. Cutter, you will give me the answer to Captain Calhoun's question.
Charlie Graff, sir. Led a party out and the Sioux killed him.
Killed him? Well, there goes your treaty. Killed a government scout. Calhoun, I want this entire garrison ready for a combat patrol in half an hour.
Why do you leave, sir? What happened to the party Charlie Grass took out?
The Bedfords. They're back in Dawson, sir. We checked on our way back.
Sioux haven't violated the treaty in any sense of the word, sir. They permitted the Bedfords to return across the boundary. Charlie Grass resigned from the service last night. Nothing in the treaty says they can't punish one of their own people if they're convinced he's betrayed them. Still want the garrison turned out, sir?
Square up those hats. All of you. Look like soldiers. And get rid of that thing. Bury it somewhere, anywhere. Outside the post.
All right. When I call your names, you replacements take your places with the non-coms representing the companies you're assigned to. Shipley, 4th Ohio, Troop B.
B Troop. Not bad. Might even make fighting soldiers out of them.
Hey,
yeah, but the way it's done out here, the first man to get killed gets made a corporal.
As soon as I get a medal, I am going to pin it on you. For funny things above and beyond the call of duty.
1st Pennsylvania, Company D. Wells, 1st Vermont. Volunteer for active duty, Troop D. Emmers, 3rd Cavalry, Arizona Territory. Transferred for the best interests of the service. Regimental champion box fighter, were you? Laid down for the gamblers, did you? It's going to be nice having the likes of you with us. Priority, 26th Cavalry, New York. Transferred for the best interests of the service. Now, ain't it going to be nice having a habitual inebriate for our guardhouse? Listen, you...
Sergeant Barhead.
Yes, sir. Son!
At ease, men. Confine yourself to reading the report. We're not interested in your personal version of these men's records.
Sir, that ain't my version. The replacement sergeant told me about these two.
Does your list sheet mention a man named Riority who was decorated for heroism in 4 separate battles in the war between the states?
No, sir, it does.
Does it mention a man named Emmers? Saved a scout patrol by crawling alone into an Apache ambush. Killed 3 of them with his bare hands.
What's the matter with that replacement sergeant? He's worse than an old woman for talking out of turn on things he don't know nothing about.
Assign Riority and Emmers to my troop, Sergeant. Dismiss your details.
Yes, sir. Himmers, Rowdy, Troop A. That's me.
Company A.
Details dismissed.
Four separate battles?
Well, you see, I joined up late. Did you get the message Miss Wilson wants to see you, sir?
Thanks.
That trick of yours of making them feel important works every time. Thing is, you go about it different each time. You even had me believing about those 4 battles in bare hands.
Army tactics, Sergeant. Strategy varies with the situation. I didn't think a private talk would do any good with those two.
And now they're gonna knock themselves out living up to the reputation you gave them. You've got yourself 2 more good men, sir.
Only one, Sergeant. Hammers, according to the report, specifically requested a transfer to the Black Hills Garrison. You know what that means?
Yeah.
Off limits passes for these men until midnight. Who was that?
It seemed to come from... me, sir.
It didn't seem to. It did.
Bureau, I think you'd be doing the troop a favor if you'd come to attention.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. You're entirely welcome.
Corporal Donlin.
I wonder if you'd mind shutting your lice-bit mouth?
All in order, sir.
We're marching off for Citton Roll, and this is the way we go. 40 miles a day on beans and hay in the regular army, oh.
Each mile you ride, you're sure to feel your blisters getting sore. There's nothing like knowing that you'll ride about 10,000 more. The drums would roll upon my soul, this is the style we go. 40 miles a day on beans and hay in the regular army, oh, oh, oh.
The sergeant's name was Callahan. He read the testament. But when he yelled his orders out, no holy words were meant.
And when he said to Hogan just to move your horse a foot, was then that Hogan moved a mile on the tip of the sergeant's boot. The drums would roll upon my soul, this is the style we go. 40 miles a day on beans and hay in the regular army, oh.
Wait a minute, there ain't nobody dismissed you baboons.
You know the type of men you're going to find in there. These gold rushers have money enough to buy a drink with. They think it's our fault. They don't like us. As long as you tend to your business, they'll tend to theirs. Keep it in mind. All right, sir.
Detail! Bustle!
Well, what'll the dog faces have tonight?
A piece of the bark.
Wait a minute, you can have him later for dessert. Right now, we want whiskey.
You soldier boys got money for the whiskey?
You think we wear these uniforms to keep warm? We get paid for wearing them. $13 a month. And this, 13. Continue pouring, amigo.
It's 40 miles a day on whiskey and hay in the regular army, oh, oh, oh.
Decorated for heroism in 4 major battles. That's really something, Mr. Ryard.
Well, I guess it is.
Did you fill up on that before each time?
Well, now, a real brave man don't need this stuff to perform feats of courage, you know.
Oh, I don't know. I was kind of too young for the war, but my brother wasn't. He was killed early. I guess that's why I joined up here. Sort of like serving out his hitch. He never was decorated like you. Maybe if he filled up on
He didn't need it. Like I said, it didn't hurt me. Why, I can take it or I can leave it. Look.
You can really leave it. Tell me about how you got your decorations, Mr. Ryard.
Well, it was at the Battle of Gettysburg. Some bird. There was Johnny Rebel coming at me. Not more than 2 or 3 dozen. And there was I.
Yeah?
Good evening, sir.
I take it Miss Leah's at home.
Yes, sir. I was just...
Never mind what you were just. You're a new officer, Mr. Cutter. For some reason, the wives on the post insist on greeting new officers with a hop. Yours is due in a few nights. You better be catching up on your beauty sleep.
Yes, sir. I was just on my way to get one at the saloon.
Get one what at the saloon?
A beauty sleep, sir. Back in Massachusetts, that's all they'd let us drink until we were 21, and I got to like them. It's ginger water, sir, mixed with a finger of rum, a finger of brandy, a half finger each of rye and gin.
Mr. Cutter, get back to the post. Get your beauty sleep. Without the fingers.
Yes, sir.
Who is it?
Who are you expecting? Unger or Jordan?
Hello, Webb.
Even a kid like Cutter is better than they are.
Did you come to criticize?
Yes. We're not marrying. There was a time you would have married me.
No, there never was.
Not since you've come out here. It can't be Unger. You wouldn't be crazy enough to let it be Unger.
Wouldn't I?
Well, I wouldn't let you.
Jordan's my boss now, Webb. A very tolerant one. He understands a lot of things. He's my kind.
But what do you...
The kind they think of me as being out here.
Don't talk like that.
Others do.
What's happened since you've come here that makes you want to be with that young lieutenant rather than...
Mr. Cutter. He just came over to ask me
Ask you what?
You wouldn't understand.
I understand there isn't a gold rusher, a soldier, a two-legged male in the whole territory you wouldn't rather be with than me. What did you come out here for? 2,000 miles to this hole if you don't want us to be together.
Because I thought it would be different. Different from Morris. But it isn't. It's worse. You remember Morriston, Webb.
You don't forget the place where you grew up.
I look at these a lot. They're not much just as pictures, are they? But they're not just pictures. See? There's your house, way up on the hill. The wonderful, wonderful Calhoun house. And here's my father's place down at the bottom of the hill, where we met. Remember? Also a wonderful house. But not a manor house. And right there ran something you never could see, because there wasn't a railroad. The tracks were there, and I was on this side of them, no matter what you said. When you went north to West Point, I thought I'd shrivel and die. And then you said you'd send for me when you got your commission. Only it seemed a war intervened. Funny, this loyalty you have for an army that thought of you as a Southerner first and an officer second. Sent you out here to the border because they wouldn't believe you'd fight against other Southerners. Out here, there may never be a railroad. But the tracks are here, too.
That's crazy, Leah. The war did away with all those things. You've got to believe that.
You don't appreciate me, Donlin. I've got to be appreciated. And in my mood, I could only be appreciated by a damosel. Amigo, Margarita. The glorious French at the service. The cavalry wishes you to have a drink with it at the bar. Amigo? Margarita.
The dog faces are buying the drinks.
Pardon me. Bartender.
You're really going to be appreciated.
I think so.
These are people that know where the little yellow stuff in the hills can be found?
Why?
You might want to talk to them.
Well, they're pretty decent people. They don't talk to soldiers. Especially members of Calhoun's troop.
Calhoun's troop.
I sent for you to tell you the Russians won't try to break into the hills tomorrow.
The wagons that were going into Rapid Creek?
Just after you rode out of town yesterday, Jordan called it off.
He wouldn't call it off. He's got something else in mind. What's he up to?
I don't know.
We had a reason to.
Well, don't tell me that Mr. West Point's got time for social life.
Don't commanding officers believe in announcing themselves?
What would you have the commanding officer do? Knock on canvas? You ready, pretty?
Will you?
You don't have to accept anybody's company unless you want to.
What's
the matter? Don't you know any treaty says I gotta keep my hands off?
Теперь она с другим, теперь она не та. Как мне ее вернуть и как мне ей сказать? Теперь она с другим, теперь она не та. Завтра будет лучше, чем вчера. Я сегодня здесь, она где-то там.
If you're hungry, Captain, let me recommend a restaurant. The Iron Captain at a loss. Is there anything in regulations to cover this situation? Such as a strategic retreat?
Regulations say that I can't hit you, Jordan. But they do allow me to remove obstacles that get in my way.
Hey, what's the matter, champ? We boring you? Or you just longing for some Apaches for you to kill with your fingers?
I never had my hands on any Apaches. More than priority there was in the war. First Calhoun figured a game about lying.
Who are you calling a liar? Hey, wait a minute. The captain didn't say you did kill any Apaches. He just asked the sergeant if he'd ever heard of a man by the name of Emerson Dad. Same with priority. They didn't lie, that's what I can see.
Maybe it's the captain's way of telling you that in his troop it ain't what a man's got. It's what he does from now on that holds water.
Each one of us. We wanted to describe Apaches. That is why the colonel gave us to Captain Calhoun. But with the captain, we started from scratch. Now look at it. The pride of the regiment. Nobody loves us except Calhoun. Don't get started in the sound.
Yeah, those are lead betters over there. The ones you said came on that little yellow stuff?
Yeah. Buy him a drink. Yeah, I didn't hear him invite you over there.
Leave him alone. That's the captain's orders. Who knows better how to run this troop? You or Captain Calhoun?
I ain't got no argument on that one.
Shut up.
Hey, what's the matter with me going with you?
There? When you started to powder your nose, you'd find out.
What I got to powder my nose?
Leave her alone, dog face.
Hey, listen. Hey, wait a minute. Darling, sit down. You two are my goal.
Looks like I get a chance anymore made to order than that.
We're not answering any questions, soldier. We're not accepting drinks from anybody in Calhoun's troop.
I don't like Calhoun any more than you do.
You mean that?
Sure.
I believe you do. We may accept that drink.
I heard you were supposed to be pretty good in the ring. To me, that's just a lot of talk.
All right, it's just talk.
That's what a man usually invents to keep from getting hurt. You know, I can always tell if a man's been in the ring by the way he blocks a punch. You want to prove you're not a liar?
I don't want to prove anything.
Well, you'd better, dog-face.
All of us like to believe we're the kind who can take love or leave it alone. Well, maybe it's true, but sometimes do you find you keep thinking of someone you've known? Is there someone lonely for you tonight? Someone sweet from out of the past? Are there tears that fall when memories recall all the love you shared somehow didn't last? Is there someone waiting for your return with a heart that always is true? Is there someone lonely who longs for you only, and by chance...
Get away from that dirty dog face.
Captain. You have a right to request army protection if there's any trouble.
I'll be along presently.
How's your fire? Jesse, form the men outside.
All right, you heard the captain. Come on, get moving. On that double!
If you keep looking for trouble as carefully as you have tonight, you're liable to find it.
Seems Captain Calhoun can get any situation in hand. Too bad. If the fight had lasted another few minutes, you'd have really seen some fireworks.
They're all here, sir, except Immers. He was getting pretty friendly with them Ledbetters. Maybe they told him...
Yes, I know. Take the men back to the post, Sergeant.
Two's left! Home!
Get down.
Well, no rank here, Captain? No army?
Just the two of us, Emmers. One of us is a scut that used the army for transportation to get to the hills, so he could desert and go scratching after that yellow stuff. Come down off that horse.
With pleasure. You sure you know what you're doing? I never did kill any Apaches, but I sure was regimental champion.
I could have sent the detail for you. That way you'd spend most of the time the Army pays you for in the guardhouse.
Oh, thoughtful of you.
I figure if you realize this is going to happen to you every time you try to run out, it'll be best for both of us. I'll have a proper soldier, and you won't spend all your time in the guardhouse.
Oh, that's mighty considerate. Let's get at it.
Not that way. This isn't a prize ring.
Come on, come on!
All right, I told you. You can't expect a suit to know anything about prize ring rules. In this country, you're liable to run into one any time.
Street fighting, huh? I was raised on that stuff. You'll get it the way you want it. You're good. Plenty good. That doesn't mean it's gonna be a pleasure to be around with you.
Just so you remember to be around.
Yeah, well, this'll help my memory, I guess. Safe to be around. Jordan, Rennie, every gold rusher in town would like to get you out in these woods alone. Probably will.
They know where we are now. Come on. Last night, an attempt was made to murder me and one of my troop. I think you had something to do with it, Jordan. You might even have been one of the riders. Well, there's a way to prove it, and I'm
Indian
gonna...
lover? Wrong. Not Indian lover. Treaty lover.
I'm making a serious charge. Murder.
Duty stickler. Filled with honor and fair play.
If I can pin this on you, you'll spend the rest of your life in prison.
Standing by a treaty made by men in the government who aren't even fit to lick your boots, Captain.
Snap out of it and stand up, Jordan.
Webb, listen to him.
Men who only have one thing in common. Money. I should know. Like Mr. Jordan from Ohio to Congress. He's got ideals, integrity. But has he got money? Money to buy the politicians? No? Then don't elect Mr. Jordan from Ohio.
You're so drunk you can't even stand up. But I'm telling you to stand up, Jordan. Stand up! I winged one of those riders last night pretty badly. Let me see you move your arms. Both of them, up and down. At least you weren't the one that got hit. Help me take him downstairs.
No way. I can handle myself.
Rennie, you and these men stand up. Ledbetter, come over here. Now put your arms out, sideways. All right, now be a bird. Fly, flap your wings. That's all. Let's see how the rest of you can fly. Come on, flap them hard.
You want me to be an eagle or a crow?
Maybe you're going to be a pigeon. A dead one if you don't fly right.
What is it? The Indian lover turned into a bird lover?
Maybe I winged him worse than I thought and you hit him somewhere. 6 feet underground. Well, just remember this. You're never going to be rich enough to represent anybody or anything, because the hills are not going to be opened up.
As long as the patrols are kept up, yes. Once they're not,
they'll be kept up.
All ready. Snap out of it, boy. Snap out of it.
Cleaning my rifle. Right here. Last night.
That's right. I was with him.
We were all with him. All of us witnesses saw him.
That's the way it's going to be?
That's it, Mr. Captain.
Sometimes I wish you'd all get what you're scrabbling for. Free rein in the hills so the Sioux could give you a big hello. It's just a wish.
I think this is disgraceful of young Mr. Cutter. Half an hour late at his own hop.
What's West Point teaching these days? Certainly not manners.
I don't see why the rest of us can't dance before Lieutenant Cutter arrives.
Tradition, my dear.
Tradition, my foot.
Alice, how can they call this a hub when nobody hops?
I never saw a junior officer show such flagrant disregard for Army customs.
The more familiar I get with this kind of Army custom, the more I think it stinks.
Yes, Colonel. I'm sure it does. Stink.
When are they going to start?
Gonna start. You in a hurry or something? You are going somewhere, amigo?
Look, this amigo stuff. I looked it up and it's pronounced amigo.
Confederate propaganda. International word. In different countries, it is so different. Take Germany. Amigo schnitzel.
All right, everybody. I think we've waited long enough, even for a West Pointer. All right, Sergeant, let it rip.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Captain. And on only 2 feet. Dogs are supposed to have 4 feet. And aren't you called Watchdog Calhoun?
Is that fun? Take it, have it. What do you think, Bristlehead?
I think you're a fake, Nero. A Migo Schnitzel.
You a Spaniard, an Italian, a German, a what? Maybe I'm a Mexican.
Go on, you haven't even seen Mexico.
You don't have to see a place to come from it.
Oh. That's real bright.
Real bright, real bright. Are you going to give me the stamp or not?
Would you two mind if I cut in?
Well, sure.
And bang your brains out? You got nothing better to do than jump around like a couple apes. Get over to the stable. The stable sergeant just asked me for 2 chambermaids.
Fine party, despite young Mr. Cutter's tardiness.
Yeah.
I don't suppose now is the time or place to mention rumors to you.
What rumors?
I heard Pactola and his Sioux had broken out of the hills. I understand they're on a marauding expedition.
Broken out of the hills. Give me the facts.
No facts yet. Just rumor. There's some isolated ranches 20 miles east of the boundary line. Now, the way I figure, Pactola means to retaliate for those breaks into the hills.
That's all I need. I can get this command started in 15 minutes.
Wait a minute. It's just a rumor. Do you want to prevent the Sioux from acting up or punish them after they have?
I see that you're a man who also wants to see these red sticks get what they deserve.
We both do. I hear, Captain, that you haven't had to run any wagons out of the hills lately.
That's right. Something else must have been keeping you busy. Want to tell me what it was?
Maybe it's just that the Sioux have left.
Jumpin' G. Hurst.
I'm afraid it's my fault we're late, Colonel. I took my time dressing. I wanted to be sure everyone would be here.
Well, you haven't missed much.
Would you get me my wrap, Charles? This has suddenly become a very undesirable place to be.
Yes, Mrs. Wells. Excuse me.
Get my coat, too.
But Alice, we just can't up and leave. That would be rude to Cutter.
Rude my foot. You outrank him, don't you, Theodore?
Excuse me.
You can drive her back to town, seeing as the dance is ending anyway.
Ending?
It's only beginning, and you know it.
For her kind, it's ending. Sorry. But pressure from certain female sources makes this dance off limits to Miss Wilson.
Why, I'm sorry, Miss Wilson. I didn't know. I didn't mean to.
Do you see them now, Webb? The tracks?
I'll take you home.
Captain, she's going with me. Any objections? Enjoy your hop, Mr. Cutter.
Oh, we can take it back. I'm staying. The atmosphere is cleared.
Good night, Colonel.
Good night. What you mean is come in and have a drink.
What I mean is good night. You can have a drink at Jordan's.
I don't want a drink at Jordan's. I want to drink with you. Right here, right now.
What I mean is, you can have your drink at Jordan's.
Oh, you little... When you make a decision, you back it up. I like that. I'll have the drink at Jordan's.
guess I should have told you I was here.
But you wanted me to make my own decision about Unger. Is that it?
Something like that.
You're very hard to convince, Webb. Didn't my dismissal at the dance have any effect?
You've only convinced me of one thing. Nothing like that at the dance would ever happen again if you'd married me. You'd be my wife. You'd go any place on the post. If any of those turkey-faced old harpies didn't speak civilly to you,
Oh, they'd speak to me, yes. And hate doing it. And behind our backs, they'd speak about us. I know you, Webb. You'd be in one constant defensive fight. Until in the end, you'd quit the service. I won't do that to you. I don't want to see you again alone. Please go, Webb.
You've made up our minds, haven't you?
My mind, Webb.
Repeat. Same as yesterday. No sign of rushers in this area. Cutter. Tell Lieutenant Cutter to take his patrol back to the post.
Over here, Captain. Looks like Lieutenant Mason.
No sign of... Never mind taking it down, Sergeant. Same thing. Tell Lieutenant Mason to take his patrol in. All this time and know nothing. It's kind of scary. Makes me almost wish I could see a Sioux. One Sioux.
One Sioux. One Sioux? You demented?
No, just crazy. All right, Barheit. Let's get back to the post. Everything all right, sir? Thought I was seeing things. Guess I need spectacles.
10 minutes out of every hour, we got to walk. I'm the one that needs the rest, not him. I wouldn't mind the walking, if it carry me.
Right about there, Sergeant.
Indian smoke?
No breaks in it. That's the signal to gather. I'd say from all parts of the territory. Why? The wagons have tried to get in for days. Have the men mount up.
All right, let's ride a while.
A little scared, Bureau?
Somebody's cooking lunch. I keep telling myself.
At a trot! Ho!
Thing is to rest that leg. All right, Fisher. Can you remember about how many Sioux attacked your ranch or which direction they took when they rode off?
All I remember is my wife lying there. My whole family gone in less than 20 minutes. I shot one of them Sioux, but he rode away with the rest of them.
You better come with us, Fisher. Colonel, if those savages aren't punished now, there'll be no stopping them.
You don't have to tell me what to do. We can't get anywhere tonight, but at sunup tomorrow, I'll break out this whole garrison. I'll track down those red sticks, and I'd hate to be one of them when I catch up with them.
You'll do a job that should have been done long ago.
Don't take the patrols out of the hills.
Don't what?
I saw a smoke column out in patrol. The Sioux are gathering inside the hills, not outside.
And what the smoke said?
Didn't say anything, but that's what it means.
And it could also mean some tribe breaking camp, burning its garbage. This army's gonna act like an army for a change. Those red sticks have busted that precious treaty of yours when they killed Fisher and his family.
A shaved-tail lieutenant was never more completely decoyed than you've been.
Explain that. Good and fast.
Besides your politicians, who stands to gain when the rush starts? And the Army and the Indians have to fight it out. One man. What you're going out on is a decoy, plain and simple, engineered by Jordan.
You don't like Jordan because he's like me. He doesn't play by your rules. Well, you're crazy if you think he'd go far enough to kill a family of whites.
All I know is the Sioux haven't broken out of the hills. Now, don't take off the patrols.
There won't be any patrols to take off. This whole garrison's going with me. You think the Sioux are still in the hills? All right, you and your troops stay here and protect the post. Stay right here, you understand?
I understand you've been decoyed, like a shaved-tail lieutenant.
You and your troop. Right here. That's a direct order. I never knew you to disobey an order, and you'd better not disobey this one.
Sir, it just hit me.
What just hit you, Sergeant?
If that smoke we saw yesterday on patrol meant the Sioux were gathering in the hills, we're in a pretty bad spot with the whole garrison going in the opposite direction.
I'm glad it hit you so soon, Sergeant. Post the guard.
Yes, sir.
Left forward! Forwards left! Hold!
They took off toward those mountains. Well, let's get started. I ain't a cat, Colonel. I can lose those tracks at night as easy as the next man. Mr. Cutter.
Yes, sir.
We'll bivouac here until it's light.
You know. You jumpy?
With one troop to guard the post, I'm jumpy.
Well, start jumping then, because somebody's coming.
Don't stand there. Do something.
Corporal the guard!
Oh, Miss Wilson, you shouldn't be driving alone through the night, scaring people.
What's the matter? Did the little tiny lady give the great big soldier a scare?
Corporal, I must see Captain Calhoun at once. It's important.
Sure, miss.
Hey, how about me standing guard on the inside? You don't want to leave a good soldier out here all alone.
All alone, a Niger Schnitzel.
In there, ma'am.
I would have come sooner, but I couldn't leave Jordan without his wondering where I was going at this time of night.
What's the matter?
Early this evening, a wagon train pulled out for the hills. Jordan loaded it with supplies and repeating rifles. But you still might be able to catch them, Webb, if you leave now.
He's counting on the Sioux to warn them back and hit them with everything they've got when they ignore the warning. Then the war's on and the hills are wide open.
But if you go out and turn the train back, there's...
And at this hour, Colonel Unger remanded Captain Calhoun to the post during the commanding officer's absence.
You can't go out after them. What are you going to do?
Going out and try to turn those rushers back.
What will this mean to you if you leave here?
Court-martial, thrown out of the service.
Not for disobeying this order. They'll
The
really...
whole system is founded on obedience. If you disobey once, you're no good for the system anymore. And it's no good for you.
Oh, then you can't go with. You mustn't do it. This is your whole life. You couldn't breathe outside of the service.
Donna. I could breathe outside the service just as well as in. Maybe that way I could have you.
Are you sure it would be enough?
I'm sure. Yes, sir. Donna, tell Barhite to have half the troops saddled up in 5 minutes.
You sons of soldiers, hit that cold, hard floor with your warm, bare feet. Slap those saddles on and I want to hear them crack.
It's over that rim. Repeating rifles. Mount up. Gallop! Whoa! Whoa! Gallop! Whoa! First, or did the Sioux?
They came up all bristling. Ordered us to turn around and get out.
Ordered us.
I asked you who fired first. You or the Sioux?
They were looking for trouble.
You or the Sioux?
We fired first.
We give them all the trouble they was looking for with these.
Any of them get away?
Couple or three. No sense going after them.
You know what you've just done? You've given the families in these wagons about 1 hour to live. Sioux have already gathered. And those 3 bucks are going to come down here with a force that'll run over this train like it wasn't even here. Turn around, Ledbetter. I'll try to get you back to Dawson.
You ain't turning us around this time, soldier. We got what we need to take care of ourselves. We're going on.
Give me those rifles. Sergeant! Now turn around. Last night, headed towards that divide over there. That way they could circle around to Dawson. Come on.
Beg pardon, Colonel. Look.
Wounded. Couldn't ride. Shot me. Never give me a chance.
Who shot you?
Rennie. We was to lead you away from the fort.
Whose idea was this?
Jordan.
Decoy. Mr. Cutter, you're looking at a mule-brained fool who's just been decoyed worse than a shaved-tail lieutenant. Davis, is there a shorter way back to the post than the way we came?
There's a shortcut, but it ain't advisable to take it with the Sioux out.
They're not paid for advice. All right, you're gonna ride. You're gonna ride like you never thought you could. Any one of you scuts that don't keep up will answer to me personally when we get back to the post. Gallant! Hop!
That's why the Sioux didn't hit us. They aren't bothering with anything small.
But I didn't figure they'd get going so quick.
Who figures a Sioux?
We're gonna make a run for the post before the Sioux get there. Gallop! Ho!
Make a run directly for the gate.
Through them?
If we take it by surprise, they may draw off until they're sure there are no more of us coming.
Wishing you could fill up on whiskey, Mr. Riority?
I told you, whiskey don't make a man brave. It just helps him forget he's petrified.
I hope one of them soldiers inside the fort's got the sand to open them gates before we bust into them. Bugler, sound the charge. They'll be back. They're just warming themselves up for another run.
We'll do all right with these.
It'll take more than those the next time.
We lost both boxes. Campbell says they bounced out of his wagon during the run.
Repeating rifles ain't much good without ammunition. If you got any extra carbines, Captain, a lot of us will be needing them.
We moved them into the magazine. Over there.
All right, go!
I'm glad you're all right. Are most of the women and children in the chapel?
Yes, Will.
Why aren't you there?
Mrs. Worth and I have been busy.
Sergeant, Yes, sir. Set a charge in the powder magazine. Run a wire to a punter up in the catwalk.
Yes, sir.
Get all the women and children out of the chapel and into the magazine. All of them.
Yes, sir.
Just like that?
Just a precaution. Jordan. I want to see you come through this, because I want to see you hanged.
On my way here, I saw Rennie and the ones with him. I saw them after Sue had finished with him. You can't blame all this on me.
You counted on the Sioux hitting only the wagon trains. Then the war would be between the Indians and the dog faces you've come running to. Maybe you should have written a letter of instruction to the Sioux.
A lot of people didn't get out of Dawson. This is no war. It's like what you told me would be like.
No. Aren't they coming?
They say they will take their chances in the chapel. Can't kind of blame them. There's no chance at all with a charge of gunpowder. One poof and you go.
Get out. You shouldn't even come in here. None of you should be here either. You're disobeying Captain Calhoun's orders.
Don't tell us what to do.
If your husbands were here, they'd tell you to move to the magazine.
Young woman, if we're going to die, this is the place to do it.
No, it isn't. Whatever you believe about me, whether true or not, my life has been different from yours. The very life I've led makes me able to speak to you now. Because whatever I've had to put up with has been delicate compared to what you'll go through if you're captured by those savages.
The magazine's where the soldiers keep the powder, isn't it, Miss Wilson?
You're the Bannon girls, Jessie and Mary, aren't you?
Daddy and Mother couldn't come. They're still in town. The powder won't go off, will it?
No, Mary, it won't go off.
Well, it hurt very much if it did.
No, Jessie, it wouldn't hurt at all.
If you're going to the magazine, Miss Wilson, we're going too.
Thank you, Jessie. Thank you, Mary.
Well, what are we gawping around for? Let's go with Miss Wilson and the children.
Is that the shortcut? Yeah, but I'm telling you not to go in. You are. They had a lookout up there. They can spot you coming 10 miles away. You better go the long way around. Any other way will take us 2 hours to get to the post. But shut up, you. I'm giving the orders around here. I never fought any Sioux, but I won't see the day when I can't cut my way through some yelling red sticks. All right with you, Mr. Cutter?
That's all right with me.
Get up!
Wait a minute, Gristlehead. Wait. Wait a minute. A migrant snitch.
They're pulling around, probably for...
That's why.
All right, Sergeant. Well, go on. Hold it. Look over there. It's a trick. They don't have to work any tricks. They've got us cold. Here, lock those gates. They're not pulling out. I think they're right over the edge of that rim. Why? Hold your fire. They're not attacking. I'll shoot the first man that fires. Open the gate, Sergeant. Bureau, give me your saber.
Sir, you're not gonna let them in.
That's the sign for a palaver. I'm going out.
But they're Sioux. That don't mean nothing but a trap. I'm going with you.
You'll stay here, just in case. Open the gate.
Just in case you don't come back.
If you don't come back, there won't be any case.
Calhoun, you remember Pactola at Laramie Council?
I remember.
You are one who has not forgot the treaty. Take your warriors, your women, and your children, and go free from the fort. Go at once, Calhoun. You will go to the east, away from the hills.
I will take the trail Pactola has told me to.